Hello friends, welcome you all. Today we are going to discuss Indian polity, few important prelims questions based on the full syllabus. So let us begin this session with question number 1. The question number 1, that is, the distinguishing feature of the federal government is A. National government gives some power to the provincial government. B. Powers is distributed among the legislature, executive, judiciary. C. Elected officials exercise supreme power in the government. D. Governmental power is divided between the different levels of government. Let us analyze the options given here so that one could understand better. See, if you take the statement number 1, that is, the national government has no discretion in sharing powers with provincial government. Therefore, statement number 1 is wrong. And if you take statement number 2, the federalism is not about separation of powers between legislature, executive and judiciary. Therefore, here it is given as power is distributed. Therefore, this statement is wrong. So let us see about statement number 3. The federalism does not deal with the role of elected officials in government, but it is given as elected officials exercise supreme power in the government. No, this statement is also wrong, since the federal does not deal with the role of elected official in government, whereas this federalism means division of powers between central and provincial government, that is state government, under the guidance of the provisions of retained constitution. So based on our discussion, D is the answer for the question number 1. See, what are the salient features of federal government? Which means dual government, written and rigid constitution, divisions of powers between national and regional government, and the supremacy of the constitution, independent judiciary, bicameral legislature. These are the salient features of federal government. One has to go through the 6 points, that is salient features of federal government. So let us move with question number 2. Here, which of the following actions does not require a constitutional amendments? See, statement number 1, reorganization of states and acquisition of foreign territory, renaming the states. Select the correct option from the given codes. See, if you take Article 3, this Article 3 of our Indian Constitution authorizes Parliament to reorganize the state without amendment. Therefore, this does not require. Therefore, this is right. So, if you take Article number 2, that is Article 2, empowers Parliament to acquire a foreign territory as well as create autonomous state within a state without amending the constitution. Therefore, acquisition of foreign territory does not need a constitutional amendment. So what about statement number 3? See, if you take Article 3, it provides for formation of new states and alteration of areas and boundaries or names of the existing state. It is also does not require a constitutional amendment. Therefore, this is also right. Therefore, answer for the question number 2 is 1, 2, 3. Option D is right. See, the Article 4 state that the law made by Parliament for reorganization of states, that is acquisition of a foreign territory or creation of an autonomous state within a state, are not to be considered as a amendment of constitution under Article 368. So based on our discussion, answer for the question number 2 is option D, 1, 2 and 3. Let us move on with question number 3. Acquisition and loss of Indian citizenship is clearly dealt by Parliament constitution, parliament along with state legislature, president. See, if you take acquisition and loss of Indian citizenship, it is given the power to the parliament. Therefore, if you take article 11, this article 11 states the parliament shall have the power to make any provisions with respect to the acquisition and termination of citizenship. Therefore, the constitution only has empowered to the parliament to deal with citizenship subject under article 11. Therefore, answer for the question number 3 is A, parliament. And if you go through the Indian Citizenship Act 1955, that provides for the acquisition and terminations of citizenship in India. See, this acquisition of citizenship we can do by three ways. What are they? By birth, descent, registration, naturalization, and incorporation of territory. And what are the ways for losing the citizenship? There are three ways. One is renunciation and termination and deprivation. These are the ways of loss of citizenship. So based on our discussion, answer for the question number 3 is parliament. That is option A. Let us move on with the question number 4. Here we have to find out the correctly post-matched Indian Council Act 1892 Principles of Election. No. And if you take B, Indian Council Act 1909 Responsible Government, and C, Government of India Act 1919 Provincial Autonomy in Administration, and Government of India Act 1935 Diarchy in States. See, if you take A, that is obviously wrong. The election was not introduced. And if you take statement number C, Government of India Act of 1919 introduced the diarchy. It has to come here. And if you take Government of India Act 1935, it introduced the provincial in administration. It has to come here. Therefore, the option number B is right for this question, since Indian Council Act 1909 introduced, that is, increases the size of legislative council and also enlarged its deliberative functions, thus forming a responsible government. Therefore, answer for the question is B, Indian Council Act 1909 responsible government. That pair is correctly matched here. And let us move on with the question number 5. Here we have to identify the correct statement. Which of the following statement reflects the correct meaning of the term equality in Indian context? See, we have to find out the reflex of equality. It is straightforward. The absence of special privileges to any section of the society. That is the answer for this question. See, if you take liberty means absence of restraints, which is not mentioned in equality. Therefore, statement number A is wrong. Why? Liberty means absence of restraint. So, equality stands for absence of any special privileges to any section of society. If you take statement number 3, the equality means non-discrimination by all the factors like social, political, economic factors, not just economic factors. Here it is given only, therefore this statement is wrong. If you take the last statement, the elimination of private property that is propounded by communism, where it is guided by the ideology of economic quality, it is not followed in India. Here it is mentioned as Indian context. Therefore, this statement is wrong. So let us move on with question number 6. See, if you take here also we have to identify the correct statement. Consider the following statement regarding preamble of the Constitution. The ideal of justice as contained in the preamble has been taken from the Russian Revolution. The liberty conceived by the preamble is not absolute but qualified. Here we have to identify the correct statement. Yes, both the statements are correct here. 1 and 2. Yes, it is straightforward given fact. The Russian Revolution contributed to the ideal of justice, that is social, economic and political justice. See, according to the preamble, the term liberty means freedom for the people to choose their way of life and also have political views and behavior in society. This liberty does not mean freedom to anything. A person can do anything, but it has certain limits set by the law. Therefore, it is not absolute but qualified. Therefore, both the statements are correct. Let us move on with the question number 7. Here, the method of obtaining the opinion of people on any issue of public importance is known as, it is straightforward plebiscite. See, if you take direct democracy, here in the direct democracy, these four things: referendum, initiative, recall, plebiscite, these are the very important. What do you mean by referendum? The referendum means binding opinion of people in majority. What do you mean by majority? Popular vote, that is called as referendum. And if you take initiative, this initiative means people directly involved in lawmaking without any representatives, that is called initiative. What do you mean by recall? The recall means the demand raised by electors to dismiss their political representatives. It is one of the main features of direct democracies. What do you mean by plebiscite? It is obtaining the opinion of people, the issues of public importance. So that is mean by plebiscite. So here the answer is plebiscite for question number 7. So let us move on with the question number 8. Which of the provisions of Constitution of India is not borrowed from a British Constitution? See, it is straightforward answer, that is fundamental rights. Why? This fundamental rights is borrowed from American Constitution. The remaining things, the rule of law, bicameralism, parliamentary privileges were all borrowed from the British Constitution, whereas these fundamental rights are inspired from American Constitution. Also, one has to note that the British Constitution, we have borrowed from British Constitution. What are they? Parliamentary government, legislative procedure and single citizenship, cabinet system and prerogative writs. So these are the things we have borrowed from British Constitution. Okay, so let us move on with question number 9. Which of the following types of democracy is not formed, okay, it not largely followed in India? If you take in India, under parliamentary form of government, elected their representatives. Thus, we are following indirect democracy, which is also known as liberal or representative democracy. And the local self-government, here we have to identify that not largely followed by India. See, based on our discussion, the liberal and representative democracy was followed. So we have to identify the not followed in India. So here it is following, first one, A is following, B is also following, we are following indirect democracy. Therefore, we are not following the direct democracy. Therefore, answer for the question number 9 is D. Direct democracy is the answer for this question. If you take local self-government, it combines representatives and also direct democracy into synergy. And also, there are expected to result in extensions and deepening of democracy in India. And also, this direct democracy are found in local self-government, but they are not largely followed in India. Here the question is, we have to identify which of the following type of democracy is not largely followed in India. Therefore, direct democracy is not largely followed in India. Let us move on with the question number 10. Consider the following statement. True liberty cannot be achieved until true equality is achieved. The true equality cannot be achieved until true justice is achieved. See, one has to note here that we have to identify the not correct statement. See, the given statement, both are correct statements, but we have to identify the not correct statement. So here answer for the question number is D, neither 1 nor 2. That is, both the statements are correct here. See, without equality, liberty would produce the supremacy of few other than many, and also which deepens already existing inequalities in the society, which would in turn curtail liberty of others. What about statement number 2? See, as long as injustice exists in the society, the equality cannot be achieved. It can be understood from Article 14 of the Constitution. So, we have to know these things. Let us move on with the question number 11. So, here the fundamental rights are mentioned in the part 3 of the Constitution. Whether we have to find here whether these fundamental rights are absolute, qualified, and sacrosanct and unamendable. Here we have to identify. So this is what straightforward question. See, these fundamental rights are not absolute rights and also no sacrosanct, and these fundamental rights are amendable by the Parliament by Constitutional Amendment Act. Therefore, this is right answer. Here the fundamental rights are qualified one, which means it is not absolute. Here it is given as absolute, therefore this is wrong. It is no sacrosanct, therefore this is also wrong. It can be amendable. Here it is given as unamendable, therefore this is also wrong. So let us move on with question number 12. See, here which of the following is the best justification for the affirmative action policies in India? See, before that one has to know what is affirmative action. This affirmative action refers to the proactive policies of government towards and also the advanced sections of the society, and also it follows the principles of equal opportunity. Kindly note the word affirmative actions follows the principles of equal opportunity. Therefore, answer for the question is B, the principles of equal opportunity related to affirmative action policies in India. So let us move on with the question number 13. Which of the following with reference to the fundamental duties are correct? Here it is given as not correct. We have to identify the not correct statement. See, these fundamental duties are not enforceable under the court of law. Kindly note that it is not enforceable under the court of law, only by the Parliament. Therefore, here it is given as court of law. Therefore, this statement is wrong. And one has to note that the Protection of Civil Rights Act 1955 bans untouchability, and also similarly a common, that is communal organization can be declared unlawful association under the provisions of Unlawful Activities Prevention Act 1967, which means this also helps in promoting harmony and upholding the sovereignty of India. Therefore, this statement is correct statement. Why? The Protection of Civil Rights Act 1955, that is UPA, okay, in short, Unlawful Activities Prevention Act 1967 gives effect to the fundamental rights. Yes. So here we have to identify the not correct statement. See, one is not correct. Therefore, option A, one only is not correct statement. So let us move on with the question number 14. Which of the following fundamental rights are available against the action of private individuals along with state action. Article 14, 19, 23, 17. We have to identify the correct one. See, if you take Article 14, this Article 14 state that a state shall not deny to any person equality before the law. Therefore, this statement is wrong, since we have to identify actions of private individuals along with state action. Therefore, this statement is wrong. One is wrong. You can eliminate D and A. So, if you take 2, that is Article 19. See, this right to freedom, that is under Article 19, are protected against only state actions, not any private individuals. Therefore, this statement is also wrong. Therefore, you can eliminate B also. So, we are deriving the answer. This is the elimination method. So, answer is 3 and 4. Yes. Article 23 and Article 17. Which of the following fundamental rights are also available against the action of private individuals? Yes. This Article 23 and 17 available against the action of private individuals along with the state action. Let us see how. This Article 23 prohibits traffic in human beings, beggar, that is forced labor, and other similar forms of forced labor. And also one has to know that it protects the individual not only against the state but also against the private persons. What about Article 17? The Article 17 abolishes the untouchability and forbids its practice in any form. That is, Article 17 is also available against private individuals, and it is the constitutional obligation of the state to take necessary action to ensure that right is not violated. So this is the answer, that is Article 23 and 17 is the answer for the question number 14. So let us move on with the question number 15. On which one of the following freedoms can reasonable restriction be imposed on the grounds of security of the state? If you take statement number, that is option number 1, speech and expression, yes, the security of the state is reasonable restriction related to speech and expression. Therefore, state answer is A, speech and expression. Let us see about remaining 3, that is peaceful assembly. See, this reasonable restriction for peaceful assembly include public order, sovereignty and integrity of India. This peaceful assembly is public order and sovereignty and integrity of India. See, if you take association, this association is reasonable restrictions like morality, morality and public order and sovereignty and integrity of India. So what about movement? The movement can also be restricted under general public and protection of any interest of any scheduled tribes. Therefore, answer for the question is speech and expression. It is based on the grounds security of the states. Let us move on with question number 16. The right to move in and out of the country. Kindly note the word out of the country is covered under the article. Which of the following articles of the Constitution? See, out of the country means automatically comes under D 21, that is Article 21. If it is inside, inner alone means Article 19, but it is given as the right to move in and out of the country. See, the freedom of movement has 2 dimensions, which is internal, that is right to move inside the country, and external, that is right to move out of the country and right to come back to the country. That is under Article 19 protects only the first dimension, that is right to move inside the country. The second dimension is dealt by Article 21, that is right to life and personal liberty. That is I have already discussed that the right to move of the country and the right to come back of the country comes under Article 21. So let us move on with the question number 17. With reference to the significance of fundamental rights, consider the following statement. Statement number 1. They provide necessary condition for the material and moral protection of man. Statement number 2. They laid the foundation stone of social equality and social justice. Here we have to identify the correct statement. See, some fundamental rights that are provided by the Constitution. What are they? The right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights. Provide moral protection and also some right like right to occupations and right to life. It also provides material protection as well as. Therefore, this statement is correct. What about statement number 2? Yes, this lays a foundation stone of social justice and social equality. In what way? If you take Article 14, yes. Article 17, yes. Article 23, yes. These three articles provides for the foundation of social equality and justice. We have discussed about articles also. Answer for the question is both. Here answer for the question number 17 is both 1 and 2. Let us move on with the question number 18. As far as the armed forces and concerned, the fundamental rights guaranteed under Article 14 and 19 of the Constitution are not available to all, available to armed forces but not to other forces, available only at the discretion of the Chief of the Army Staff, and available only according to the law made by the Parliament. Yes, this option is right. Why? Since if you take Article 33, this Article 33 talks, that is, this Article 33 states that the applications of fundamental rights to armed forces can be restricted or abrogated by the laws made by the Parliament. Okay, so this is the right answer. So let us move on with question number 19. Consider the following statement regarding the writ of mandamus. So this is very important. There are 5 kind of writs. One of them is mandamus. See, it is possible only there is no alternative remedy. Statement number 2. It can be issued only for enforcement of fundamental rights. Statement number 3. It commands the person or body to whom it addressed to perform some public or quasi-legal duties. Here we have to identify the correct statement. See, if you take this writ of mandamus, this writ of mandamus literally means we command. What do you mean by that? It is a command issued by the court to a public official asking him to perform his official duties that he has failed or refused to perform. That is called as mandamus. Also, one has to know that it can be also issued against any any public body, a corporation, and inferior court or tribunals or government for the same purpose, but it not issued against private individuals or private things. See, this writ of mandamus cannot be issued against the private individuals or bodies, and also to enforce departmental instructions that does not possess statutory forces, and also it cannot be issued when the duty is discretionary and not mandatory, and also it cannot be issued against the presidents of India or state governors, and also this writ of mandamus cannot be issued against the Chief Justice of High Court acting in judicial capacity, and also one has to know that the mandamus can be issued for the region, that is regions other than fundamental rights violations. For example, it can be issued against the public official who refuses to do its mandatory public duty. Therefore, here it is statement number 2 is wrong. Why it is wrong? It is given as only for enforcement of fundamental rights. No, as just now we have discussed, it can be issued against a public official who refuses to its mandatory public duties. Therefore, you can eliminate the options A, B and D. Therefore, answer for the question is 1 and 3. This is the elimination method. So, we have discussed right now. See, the protection of fundamental rights under constitutional remedies like mandamus is possible only when there is no alternatives, and it can be issued in enforcement of other rights also. This mandamus literally commands a public official asking him or her to perform official duties one has failed to do so. Therefore, 1 and 3 is right. Let us move on with the question number 20. Which of the following articles reflect the secular character of the Indian Constitution? If you take Article 14, yes, this states the secular character. How? Let us see. The right to equality under Article 19 ensures every religion treated equally. Therefore, 1 is right. Therefore, we can eliminate C. If you take Article 15, yes, this is also right. See how it is right. Prohibition of discrimination under Article 14 prevents religious discrimination. And under Article 15 prevents religious discriminations. Therefore, that is also right. And therefore, here 2 is not present. You can eliminate this also. Here, from this A and B, we can identify that 1, 2, 3 and 5 are obviously right. We have to think about 4. Article 16. Yes, this Article 16 provides equal public employment opportunities irrespective of religion. Therefore, this is also right. Answer for the question number 20 is A, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Let us move on with the question number 21. Who among the following is not the part of making of the Constitution of India? See, this is straightforward. If you have studied polity, Indian polity, then it is straightforward answer. J.B. Kripalani, yes. Rajendra Prasad, yes. And what about Patabi Sitaramaya? He also present. Therefore, the Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan is not present. Therefore, answer for the question 21 is C only, right answer. He is the person not present. Okay, let us see. This J.B. Kripalani was part of the advisory committee on fundamental rights. What about Rajendra Prasad? Rajendra Prasad presided the rules of procedure committee. Here, Patami Sitaramaya presided the House of Committee on Constitutional Making. See, if you take Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, also known as Frontier Gandhi, was not involved in making Constitution of India. Therefore, answer for the 21 is C. Let us move on with the 22. Which of the following statement is or are correct regarding Indian secularism? The Indian secularism allows for principled state intervention in all religions. The freedom of conscience is subjected to reasonable restrictions such as public order, mortality and health. Right to propagate a religion also include right to convert except forced conversion. What about statement number 4? Indian secularism is different from Western secularism and is borrowed from the Australian Constitution. See, the fourth statement is obviously wrong. Therefore, we can eliminate C and D. C, 1 and 2 is remaining. That is A, 1 only, B, 2 only. Obviously, 3 is also wrong. See, if you take statement number 2, the statement number 2 is wrong. Why? This freedom of conscience is an absolute freedom without any restriction. Here it is given as reasonable restriction. Therefore, it is also wrong. Therefore, you can eliminate 2 also. The answer for the question is A1 only. Let us see. Here, the secular state must be concerned equally with intra-religious dominations. What does it mean? It means the Indian secularism has made room for and is compatible with the ideas of state support a religious form. And also one has to note that the Indian constitutions bans untouchability. The Indian states also enacted several laws by abolishing child marriage and lifting the taboo on intercaste marriage by the Hinduism. So therefore, statement number 1 is right. Indian secularism allows for principled state intervention in all religions. So if you take statement number 2, that is obviously wrong. If you take statement number 3, there is no right to conversion, even if not forced. And also, Indian secularism is not borrowed concept. So these are the explanations for this question number 22. Let us move on with the question number 23. Consider the following statement. A child born in Japan to NRI parent raised there for 15 years and acquired Japan citizenship. And also one has to note that statement number 2, the child born to Indian origin father who acquired Japan citizenship just before child's birth and Japan mother. And here we have to identify who is or eligible for natural Indian citizenship as per the Constitution of India. See, since the child possesses Japan citizenship, he or she can acquire Indian citizenship through descent under Citizenship Act 1955, but not under Constitution of India. Therefore, here it is given as Constitution of India. Therefore, this statement is wrong. The child can acquire through descent, Indian citizenship through descent under Citizenship Act 1955. What about statement number 2? See, the father is an Indian origin but he possessing Japan citizenship. The child can acquire Indian citizenship through descent under Citizenship Act 1955. It is also not mentioned in the Constitution. Even if the father is Indian origin, is not a citizenship of India at the time of birth of his child. Therefore, the child is not eligible for the natural Indian citizenship. Therefore, he can obtain through descent only. Therefore, both the statements are given here. We have to identify the correct statements regarding with this question. Therefore, neither 1 nor 2 is the right answer for question number 23. Let us move on with the question number 24. Consider the following statement regarding the parliamentary system. In any parliamentary system, members of its lower house are necessarily elected by the people. In India, all the cabinet ministers, even from the Council of States, are responsible to the House of the People. See, this question number 24. Here we have to identify the correct statement. Yes, in any parliamentary system, the members of its lower house are necessarily elected by the people? No, since few members are nominated too in the lower house. Let us see. They are nominated members too in the lower house. The India had 2 nominated Anglo-Indian members. The nomination done by the president. Therefore, this statement is wrong. Therefore, you can eliminate B and A. So, what about statement number 2? See, the Article 75. See here, this Article 75 talks about this. State that Council of Ministers are collectively responsible to the Lok Sabha, which means House of the People. Therefore, this statement is right. See, based on our discussion, answer for the question number is B. 2 only is the right answer. Let us move on with the question number 25. Which of the following statement is or correct during imperial British rule? The parliamentary system consisted of only real head, which was Governor General of India, and B. Origin of modern parliamentary system in India can be traced back to Government of India Act 1861. C. The Government of India Act 1919 is the first and only act with preamble. D. The Government of India Act started federal distribution of powers in India. See, one has to know the history, that is imperial British rule. See, the British crown was the real head, therefore not the Governor General of India. The real head is, it is given as only real head was Governor General. No, why? British crown was the real head, therefore this statement is wrong. If you take statement number 2, the origin of modern parliamentary system can be traced back to Government of India Act 1853. It is given here as 1861. Therefore, this statement is also wrong. If you take statement number D, the Government of India Act 1919 started federal distribution of powers in India. No, it was 1935, not 1919. Therefore, this statement is also wrong. So, based on our discussion, C is the right answer for the question number 25. The Government of India Act 1919 was the first and only act with preamble. Kindly note this one, it is very important. So let us move on with the question number 26. Consider the following statement. As per the Constitution of India, the foreigners, after acquiring Indian citizenship under 1955 Act, cannot become President or Attorney General, but may be eligible for Prime Minister. Despite a foreigner being eligible for Indian citizenship, it is not mandatory for the government to provide citizenship, unlike natural citizen. Except Aadhaar, passport, birth certificate, driving license, NRC are considered as the proof of citizenship of India. Which of the following given are correct? We have to identify the correct statement. See, the naturalized citizen are eligible. Kindly note the word naturalized citizen. The naturalized citizen is eligible for the certain offices, that is President, Vice President, Judges of the Supreme Court, Judges of the High Court, Attorney General, Advocate General, Governor of State. See here, there is no mention of any criteria for Prime Minister. Therefore, this statement is obviously wrong. You can eliminate D, C and A. So, we are deriving an answer by elimination method itself. C is the, B, 2 only is the answer for this question. Let us see the statement number 2. The foreigners do not have right to get citizenship. Therefore, statement number 2 is correct. See, in the recent NRC issue, okay, that is National Register of Citizenship, the government clarified that Aadhaar, voter ID card, passport are not citizenship documents. And also the Ministry of Home Affairs have said that the guidelines for the NRC were yet to be drafted and cannot be constructed as the proof of citizenship yet. Therefore, this statement is also wrong. Kindly note this while go through the current affairs sessions. Let us move on with the question number 27. Consider the following statement regarding functions of the Constitution. Statement number A. Provide a set of rules that allow for minimal coordination among members of the society. Yes, this statement is right. Specify who has the power to make decision in a society. Yes, this is also correct. Set some limitations on what government can impose on a citizenship. Yes, this is also correct. Enables the government to fulfill the aspiration of the society and create conditions for the just society. Yes, this is also correct. We have to identify the correct statement. Therefore, A 1, 2, 3, 4 is correct. See, if you take a society, the society comprises of different groups with diverse language, religion, and region, and ethnicity, and also one has to note that the constitution which allows for certain common norms for governance, ensuring the stability in the society, and also the constitution enables basic rules and regulations to govern all, thereby preventing chaos in the society. Here the constitution gives the powers to the president, prime minister, legislative, etc. etc. The Indian constitution, who in turn makes a decision for the society. And one has to note that the fundamental rights set some limitations on what a government can impose on its citizens. And also, the fundamental rights and directive principles of state policy enable the government to fulfill the aspiration of the society and create conditions for a just society. Therefore, all the given statements are correct. Let us move on with the question number 28. Which of the following are considered as the law in India according to the Article 13? See, what is Article 13? The law made by local authorities also considered as the law under Article 13. Yes, the statement number 1 is right. What about statement number 2? The rules made by private individual here cannot be considered as a law, but it is given as the club owned by the private individual. Therefore, it is wrong. You can eliminate A and D also. Let us see the remaining. Customs which have force of law. Yes, that is correct. Judgments of the High Court. Yes, that is also correct. Constitution of India. Yes, that is also correct. Therefore, C 1, 3, 4 and 5 is correct. See, the customs comes under non-legislative sources of law. The judgment of High Court can be considered as law under statutory instruments. So these are the important related to the Article 13. Let us move on with the question number 29. Which of the following statement is correct? The territory of India shall consist of the territories of the state, union territories only. No, that is wrong. And why it is wrong? Since the territory of India shall consist of territory of the states, union territories, and also any territory that might be acquired, that is, that may be acquired in future. Here it is given as only. Therefore, it is wrong. See, the federal units enjoy equal powers and privileges. If you take this statement, it's look like a correct, but it is not correct. Why it is not correct? Since asymmetrical federalism exists in India, which means the Rajya Sabha also representation. So that leads the federal units not enjoys equal powers and privileges. What about statement number C? Yes, this statement is correct. Why? The constitution amendment is required for ceding a territory. Yes. See, it needs a constitution amendment for cession of a territory to the foreign nation. Therefore, this is the right answer. What about the statement number D? These and all very important one has to go through. The parliament, that is political map of India, can be read on by the parliament, not by the union government. Therefore, this statement is also wrong. Parliament only can do that. So let us move on with question number 30. Who among the following ranks the lowest in the warrant of precedence? Here, if you take, see, this is quite tricky. If you do not know the present order, so let us discuss. See, president comes first and vice president second, third is prime minister, fourth is the governor of states within their respective states, number 5 is former president, 5A is deputy prime minister, 6 is chief justice of India and speaker of the Lok Sabha, and 7 is cabinet ministers of the union and also planning commission and former prime ministers. The first not the planning commission, not the, let us see the remaining things. 7A is comes under holder of Bharat Ratna, and judges comes under 9th rank, and 9A chairperson and Union Public Service Commission and Chief Election Commissioner and a CAG of India. So therefore UPSC obviously wrong. What about leader of opposition? We have discussed that also the leader of opposition comes under ranking 7. Therefore that is not. Therefore here Attorney General comes under 11th position. That is Attorney General of India. And also cabinet secretary, lieutenant governors within the respective union territories comes under the final one, that is 11th ranking position. Therefore A, Attorney General is the right answer for this question. Let us move on with the question number 31. So consider the following statement. Consider the following statement. The Constitution of India guaranteed both moral rights and legal rights to an individual. Civil rights are those rights which can be enable a citizen to have the share in its affairs of the state. Here we have to identify the correct statement. See, if you look these statements, it look like a correct. But let us see. The moral rights of an individual cannot be guaranteed by any legal source like constitution. Therefore, this statement is wrong. The moral rights of an individual not guaranteed one. Okay. So what about statement number 2? The civil rights are those rights which are enabled by the citizen to have the share in the affairs of the state. This statement is also wrong statement. Why it is wrong? Political right are those rights which enable. Here it is mentioned as civil right. Therefore this statement is wrong. Only political rights are those rights which enables a citizen to have the share in the affairs of the state. So both the statements are incorrect statement. We have to identify the correct statement. Therefore neither 1 nor 2 is correct regarding with the question number 32. Sorry, regarding with the question number 31. Let us move on with the question number 32. With reference to the Constitution of India, the directive principles of state policy constitute limitations upon legislative functions or executive actions. See, these directive principles of state policy are not justiciable in nature. They are not legally enforceable by the courts for their violation. Hence, it does not constitute limitations upon legislative or executive functions. Therefore, both the statements are wrong with respect to directive principles of state policy. Therefore, answer for the question is neither 1 nor 2 is the right answer for this question. Let us move on with question number 33. Which of the following is or are not the exclusive privilege of the Indian citizen? See, this is quite tricky. Here we have to identify the not the exclusive privilege. Public employment. C. It's look like a correct, but let us see. But it is not the exclusive right. So therefore, this is correct answer. See, the rights and privileges are different terminologies. One has to note that the Indian citizens enjoys right to education and also employment under Article 15 and 16 of the Indian Constitution. But the public education and employment is not their not their exclusive privilege, as even citizens of Nepal and Bhutan can also enjoy it, and enters into the civil services except all India service. So therefore statement 1 and 2 is correct. Why? Since it is not exclusive privileges according that is to the Indian citizens alone. Even Nepal and Bhutan citizens can enjoy that. Therefore, let us move on with 3. Overseas citizenship of India cannot buy agriculture property, but can buy residential and commercial purposes. So here given as we are talking with respect to Indian citizens. Therefore, the overseas citizens also can buy commercial property. Therefore, it is not the exclusive privileges of Indian citizen. So what are the remaining? Becoming a civil servant, becoming the governor of the state, voting of elect mayor of the city. So these and all, one has to note that here becoming the civil servant also available for citizens of Nepal and Bhutan except all India service. Therefore 1, 2, 3, 4 is right. Here 1, 2, 3, 4 is right. We do not have to check with 5 and 6. So there is no options present here. Therefore obviously those two are wrong. Let us see. See, to becoming a governor of a state and voting to elect mayor of a city are the only exclusive privileges of the Indian citizens. So these are the things one has to remember during your preparation. So let us move on with question number 34. Consider the following statement regarding the universal adult franchise in Indian contest. So kindly note, in Indian contest, every citizen above 18 years of the age can vote in any election. Kindly note the word any election, including election for municipalities. And statement number 2, the right to adult franchisee and universal franchisee are the constitutional rights. The voting age reduced from 21 to 18 by the 61st Constitutional Amendment Act of 1988. Here we have to identify the correct statement. See, the adult franchisee, that is every citizen above 18 years of age, can vote in elections but not in any elections. If you take the election of president, election of vice president, etc., the citizens cannot vote in that elections. Therefore this statement is obviously wrong. Therefore you can eliminate D and C. Then check with A and B. 3 is obviously right. Even if you do not know about a 65th Constitutional Amendment Act, this statement is obviously right. What about statement number 2? Yes, the adult franchisee, universal franchisee are constitutional rights. Therefore, according to the Article 3, see if you take this one, according to the Article 325, if you take, it guarantees right to adult franchisee and universal franchisee. Therefore, B, 2 and 3 is right for this question. Let us move on with the question number 35. With reference to the fundamental duties in the Constitution of India, consider the following statement. Japan Constitution is the first democratic constitution to include the fundamental rights. Yes, this statement is right. Though the fundamental duties were derived from Soviet Constitution, but Japan, see, we are derived these fundamental duties from Soviet. But Here the statement given is Japan was the first democratic country to include in its constitution. Yes, that is right. What about statement number 2? The Indian citizens do not have fundamental duties in our constitution prior to the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. Yes, this is also correct. See, this 42nd Amendment only included the fundamental rights. So therefore, that is correct. And let us move on with question number 36. Which of the following statement is or are correct regarding reservations in the public employment in India? So this is very important question. Kindly go through this. See, public employment and also reservations. Note down two words. There is no gender based reservations in India. That and also the backwardness of the individual is also determined by economic factors like economically weaker section category, and also the reservations, which is a temporary provisions, the remains of the discretion of the state, and also it's not permanent future. So these are the things one has to know. See, based on the discussion we could able to identify the correct statement. See, the providing reservation is the discretion of the state is the correct answer. Let us see. The overall reservations shall not exceed 50%, which is shared by the OBC, ST, SC and women. See, in some cases it can. And what about social and economic educational backward are identified only on the based of the caste of the person? No, just now we have discussed. And what about D? The reservation is intended to the permanent provision in the constitution? No, just now we have discussed it is not permanent one. So answer for the question is C, providing reservation is the discretion of the state. What about, let us move on with the question number 37. Which of the following examples does not violate Article 15 of the Indian Constitution? Separate schools for boys and girls, and reserving tables in private hostel, refusal to bury in a public graveyard, non-inclusion of women in the army, and section 377 of the IPC regarding LGBT community. Statement number 6, variable cutoff marks in competitive exams for backward classes. See, we have to identify the correct one using the codes. See, here does not violate Article 15. See, the statement 1 is correct. Why statement 1 is correct? See, some provisions can be made for women as per Article 15 of the Indian Constitution. Also, one has to note that Article 29, admission cannot be denied only on the basics of race, religion, caste and language. Here one has to know this minute thing. Sex is not a criteria for admission, cannot be denied. Therefore, there can be separate schools. One is right. Therefore, you can eliminate A. And the reserving tables is not based on caste or race. Therefore, it does not violate Article 15 or 17. Therefore, this is also right. And what about 3? The refusal to bury violates Article 15? Yes, obviously it violates Article 15. Therefore, that is wrong. What about rejecting women in army violates Article? Yes, this also violates Article 15. And therefore, that is wrong. And if you take section 377, but it is not related to Article 15. Therefore, this is also wrong. And see, those and all wrong statements. Therefore, we can eliminate from the options also. You can eliminate these things. So obviously 6 is right. This is not does not violate, since the variable cutoff and reservations are provided to ensure justice as per the article 14 and 15. Therefore, the answer for the question is B. 1, 2, 6 is the correct answer. Let us move on with the question number 38. Consider the following statement. Right to express other opinion, right to reject all contesting candidate while voting, right to silence. Which are the implicit rights available to the freedom of expression? See, all the rights are available. That is implicitly available. See, right to express other opinion, that is freedom of press. That is freedom of expression involves right to express other opinions also. Example, just now I have told freedom of press. And nota in the elections are the implicit right under freedom of expression. That is also right. What about right to silence? Right to silence is also a fundamental right. Right not to speak or right to silent is also included in the right to speech and expression. Therefore, all the statements are given here are correct. Let us move on with the question number 39. Which of the following is the violation of fundamental rights? Violation of fundamental rights. Agreed portion. Okay. The gangsters threatening a wonder life and its livelihood, and husband violating his wife privacy by bugging her workplace. Contractors employing workers in poor working condition with wages not sufficient for their survival. Restricting people from other religion entering into the temple's sanctum and sanctorum. What are they? Let us see. See, the fundamental rights are guaranteed only against the state, except Article 15, subclass 2 and 17, 23 and 24. See, if you take right to life and the right to livelihood and privacy are guaranteed only against the state under Article 21. If other citizen violates it, then it is a crime, but not fundamental rights violation. One has to know that restricting people from entering sanctum or sanctorum is not violating freedom of practice guaranteed under Article 25. Even in mass, during prayer hours, other religious people are not allowed. And many people work less than minimum wages, violating Article, see here the word violating Article 23, as it amounts to slavery. Therefore, this is the right answer for this question. So let us move on with question number 40. Which of the following freedom is not guaranteed? Here note that not guaranteed by the Constitution of India. Freedom to own, acquire and dispose of property. Freedom to move freely throughout India, this is given. And freedom to assemble, this is also given. Without arms, that is important. Freedom to practice in any trade or profession, this is also given. But this one is not given as the fundamental rights. Therefore, answer for the question is A is the answer. Okay. These and all given. Therefore, answer for the question is A. See, if you know the 44th Amendment Act, then obviously you will come to know about this statement. In the year 1977, the 44th Amendment Act eliminated the right to acquire, hold, dispose of property as the fundamental rights. See, Article 19 subclass 1D guarantees to all the citizens right to move freely throughout the territory of India. Article 19 subclass 1B provides that all the citizens have the right to assemble peacefully and without arms. That is important. Under Article 19 1G subclass 1G, Indian Constitution has guaranteed right to practice any profession or to carry any occupation, trade or business to all the citizens residing in the jurisdiction of the country. So, based on our discussion, answer is A. Freedom to own, acquire and disposal of property. Let us move on with the question number 41. In the federal establishment by the Act of 1935, the residue powers were given to, see, these and all straightforward factual questions. given to Governor General is the right answer. The Government of India Act 1935 provides for the establishment of All India Federation consisting of provinces and princely states as unit. And also this act divides the power between the center and units in terms of three lists. What are they? Federal list for central, provincial list for states, and concurrent list for both center and provinces. One has to note that the residue powers, what do you mean by residue powers? The matters which are not enumerated in the above three list. What are they? Just now we have mentioned that center, provincial and concurrent. So remaining things comes as the residue powers, where these things are given to the Governor General. And also one has to know that the Government of India Act 1935 vested the residue power with Viceroy, whereas Constitution of India vested the residue power with the Parliament. And this feature of vesting the residue powers in the center is borrowed from the Canadian Constitution. Kindly note down, this is borrowed from the Canadian Constitution. That is very important. The residue power is borrowed from the Canadian Constitution. So let us move on with the next question. Consider the following statement regarding federalism in the Government of India Act 1935. Okay. So it defines India as the federation as a states, and a separate constitution for all provinces. Obviously wrong. It is a wrong one. We are having the single constitution. Therefore you can eliminate D, A and B. So we are deriving the answer. 1, 3, 4 is the right answer. See, choosing by elimination method is very important. So answer for the question is C, 1, 3 and 4 only. See, let us see few things. See, the Government of India Act 1935 defines, just now we have discussed those things. So kindly go through that. So answer for the question is 1, 3 and 4 only. So let us move on with the question number 43. Which of the following statement is not socialist principles of the Constitution? Here we have to choose not socialistic principle. The equitable distribution of material resources of community for the common good, it is the socialistic principle. Therefore this is the not answer for this question. See, since we have to identify the we have to identify the not the socialistic principle. Abolition of private property, yes, this is the correct answer for this one. Abolition of private property is not the socialist principle, whereas the prevention of concentration of wealth and means of production is a socialistic principle. Equal pay for equal remuneration of women and men, that is also socialistic principle, whereas this abolition of private property is not a socialistic principle. Therefore answer would be B, abolition of private properties. Let us move on with the 44. Consider the following statement. The fifth schedule of the Constitution deals with the provisions relating to the administration of tribal areas Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram. Sixth schedule of the Constitution deals with the provision relating to the administration and control of the scheduled areas and scheduled tribes. Here we have to identify the not correct statement. See, both are not correct. Therefore answer would be 1 and 2. That is both 1 and 2. See, this fifth schedule talks about this one. This sixth schedule talks about this one. Okay, the fifth schedule deals with the provisions relating to the administration and control of the scheduled area and the scheduled tribe. Sixth schedule deals with the provisions relating to the administration of tribal areas in the state of Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram. So both are wrong statements. So let us move on with the question number 45. See, these and all looks like a simple question, but very important. Which of the following would it not covered in the third schedule? Judges of the Supreme Court, High Court, those and all covered, and CAG is covered, and Union Minister also covered. It is given as not covered. See, all of them are covered here. Therefore answer would be D, all of them are covered. Okay, So let us move on with question number 46. Or else let us discuss few things related to 45, since I feel it is very important. See, one has to know the third schedule. This third schedule deals with the forms of vote or affirmation for union minister and candidates for the election and members of the parliament, Supreme Court, CAG, state ministers, state legislative members, and members of state legislature, judges of the Supreme Court. In short, judiciary and legislative. Kindly note that simple. Judiciary and legislative as mentioned in the oath. Okay, judiciary and legislative. So these are the simple things one has to note. Okay, let us move on with question number 46. Which of the following act provided the setting up of the board of control in Britain, through which British government could fully control the British East Indian Company civil, military and revenue affairs in India? See, these are all factual questions, straightforward. Pitt's India Act of 1784 only separated board of directors and a board of control. Okay, it allowed court of directors to manage commercial affairs, and also it has created the new body that is called as board of control to manage the political affairs. So one has to know that this Pitt's India Act, the first time mentioned, this act is very important. Why it is important? The company's territory in India were the first time called as the British possession in India. And also, secondly, the British government has given the supreme control over the company affairs and administration in India. So these are the important things one has to remember. That is the board of control to supervise and direct all the operations of the civil, military, government of revenues and the British possession in India. This Pitt's India Act of 1784 only provides. So let us move on with 47. Which of the following fundamental values are not embedded by the preamble? Political values, yes, it is given. Moral values also given. Ethical values also given. But religious values are not given. Okay. See, by secularism, the constitution means that the India is neutral in religion matter and treats all religion equally. Therefore, religious values are not enshrined in the preamble of the Indian constitution. But if you take the values in the preamble is expressed in the form of nature of polity, such as sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, republic, and also it mentions the objectives of the constitution to secular liberty, justice, equality, fraternity and dignity for its citizens. This provides for the political and moral and ethical values embedded in the preamble of the constitution. Therefore, obviously, political, moral, ethical are provided, but religious values are not provided in the preamble. Let us move on with the question number 48. See, the system of legal responsibility of ministers is not future Indian parliamentary system, because we have to identify the because. See, the person who is not a member of parliament can be also appointed as the minister. Okay, here, but not, we have to identify the not a future, but it is a future. Okay, the prime minister may be a member of any of the two houses of the parliament. Yes, this is also future. And the minister are not required to countersign the official act of the head of the state. The ministers are collectively responsible to the parliament. See, this is right. So answer would be C. The ministers are not required to countersign the officials act of the head of the constitution is not the future of Indian parliamentary system. See, let us see. See, we have derived those things from the British constitution. See, the system of legal responsibility of the ministers, while in India has no such a system, but the Britain has. In Britain, every order of the king for any public act is countersigned by the ministers. If the order is in violation of any law, the minister would be held responsible and would be liable in the court. But unlike in Britain, the ministers in India are not required to countersign the official act of the head of the state. And also one has to know that it is not required that an order of the president for a public act, that is should be countersigned by the ministers. So therefore it is not the future of the Indian parliamentary system. Okay, let us move on with 49. Which of the following provisions of the Constitution of India can be amended by the simple majority of the two houses of the parliament? See, these things are very important, simple majority and special majority. But let us see. Conferment of more jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, yes. Okay, and it can be amended by using the simple majority. Okay, abolition of creation of legislative council, yes, this is also simple majority. Election of parliament and state legislature, yes, this is also simple majority. The answer would be 1, 2 and 3. Why? Let us see. See, the Constitution of India can be amended in 3 ways by using the Article 368. Okay, the Article 368. See, one is by the special majority of the parliament, and also amendments by the special majority of the parliament, and ratification of half of the state legislatures, and also by the simple majority. Okay, here the provisions by the simple majority. Okay, see, simple thing, those are the things needed and for the legislatures which can be easily by amended by the simple majority. Okay, see, let us see the few things. Okay, the abolition or establishment of new states can be simple majority, and formation of new states, that is also simple majority. Abolition of creation of legislative council, that is also simple majority. And second schedule, quorum in parliament, salaries and allowances, and number of judges in the Supreme Court, citizenship, election of parliament, delimitations and union territories, and fifth schedule, sixth schedule, these are the things can be amended by using the simple majority. Okay, so let us see one more question related to special majority. Okay, there is no time limit with which the states should be given the consent of the bill, yes. And then what about statement number 2? The fundamental rights can be amended only with the consent of the half of the state legislature by a simple majority and the special majority by the parliament. No, if you take statement number 2, that is wrong. Why it is wrong? Since it is given up, changed, the order is changed here, therefore this statement is wrong. Okay, one has to know these important points while go through the questions and while reading. Anyhow, I will discuss few things related to simple majority. See, these fundamental rights can be amended by the simple majority of the parliament. That is, what do you mean by simple majority? See, we have already discussed many things related to simple majority. That is, more than, that is majority of the total membership of the house, which means 50%, and also the majority of the 2/3 of the members of the each house present and voting, that is mean by simple majority. Okay, these fundamental rights can be amended by the special majority of the parliament. Okay, not by the simple majority. Therefore statement number 2 is wrong. What about statement number 1? Yes, the provisions of the constitution which are related to the federal structure, kindly note the word federal structure, can be amended by the special majority of the parliament, and also with the consent of the half of the state legislature by the simple majority. One has to know that there is no time limit with the states should give their consent to the bills. Okay, so I'll give you a few more details about special majority of parliament and consent of the states. See, what are the provisions? The election of president, that is federal. Okay, election of president and its manner and extent of the executive powers of the union and the states, Supreme Court and High Court, distribution of legislative powers between union and the states, and anything present in the 7th schedule, and the representation of states in parliament, and powers of parliament to amend constitution and its procedure. So these are the things in need a special majority. Okay, so with this we are concluding this session. We will meet in the next class. Okay, thank you all. Have a good day.